Greetings everyone, and welcome to my channel. I'm your host, Captain Rye, and today's video has got me in a warship that I don't take out all that often, though I should really consider taking it out more often because it is kind of an OP ship. Of course, that's the Tier 8 Premium Russian cruiser, the Mikhail Kutuzov, here in World of Warships. As the battle gets underway, it's a Tier 8 maximum battle, it's on Trident, and it's everybody's favorite map mode, Epicenter. And of course, if you can't detect my salty sarcasm there, then maybe you are just one of those weird, perverse people who actually likes Epicenter. As the battle gets underway, of course, everybody is going to be rushing into the center of the map. The enemy team is already started to cap. They must have one of their destroyers hit that speed boost and just rush right into it. Our destroyers, surprisingly enough, got a little bit of a late start into the cap zone, which is kind of surprising because normally the team that spawns on this side of the map almost always starts inside that first ring, and usually kind of gives it a little bit of an unfair advantage. I really wish Wargaming would fix that so that all of the destroyers, especially the destroyers, would spawn equal distance away, because usually one team ends up with an advantage. They get their ships up there quicker. Of course, that doesn't do anything if the battle starts and your destroyers, your fast cruisers, are just sitting there at the spawn to begin with for an unreasonable amount of time anyway. Pop my smoke screen. Yes, that's right, the Kutuzov, for those of you who don't know, does have a smoke screen just like the British cruiser line. It is a stationary smoke screen, so you do have to slow down if you're going to pop it, otherwise you're just going to go roll right out of it. And since this is a cruiser, it doesn't stop that fast, so you kind of have to expose yourself, stop a little bit, and then pop that smoke screen and hope that you aren't the focus of too much attention. Now I got a Mogami who's come around back behind this island over here, and he is kind of maneuvering around. He's got a couple of friendly destroyers on my team to deal with here, but look at that. He's going to turn broadside on. I'm switching back over to the armor piercing because it's a Mogami broadside on. Yeah, the Kutuzov's guns may be small, but boy, they sure do pack a wallop. Citadels, have some. 3 citadels on that Mogami really puts the hurt on him. Switch back over to the high explosive. I did set him on fire. I did do a reasonable amount of fire damage to him, but now look, he's just all sorts of in trouble here. Shots out with the high explosive, hit him, set him on fire again. He's gonna burn there. He's gonna beach himself. The question is, are my shots gonna get there before the torpedoes do from the friendly destroyer? No. Friendly destroyer steals my first blood. I'm not salty. I'm just disappointed that my shots couldn't reach him quickly enough to finish him off. But that's okay. I'm going to make up for it in spades. Now, smokescreen has worn out. I was briefly detected there, so those shots coming in there, fortunately, get my ship going back the other way, avoid taking too much damage, and now I have to kind of figure out what to shoot at. Problem with the Trident map is there's this big nasty island that's in the way that really does allow ships like me to hide behind it, while the ships on the other side can't shoot at them. The enemy team is currently down on ships, which gives my team an advantage, but they're not down on the ships that matter. They still have all of their destroyers, and those destroyers are really going to come back and play a significant role here in the future. Now, I'm getting myself turned around because I don't want to go the opposite direction and push up into what would be the lion's den of enemy ships here. And I've got an Admiral Hipster over here who is pushing up, again, dealing with our destroyers over there, and the destroyers are having a really tough time dealing with him as he is maneuvering hard, but he's taking shots from pretty much everybody here. I'm trying to switch back and forth between armor piercing, get citadels in on this guy, but of course he's maneuvering hard, so every time I get my shots lined up, he's already bow on. And then when I get the high explosive, he starts turning broadside again. It never fails. Still though, I'm going to continue to put shots out there. At least with the high explosive, I can set him on fire. He's almost dead. Come on, get those shots loaded back. No! Switch over to the armor piercing just in time for our friendly destroyer to ram him. That's a waste of our destroyer there because we had the destroyer advantage. We had 5 destroyers to the enemy's 4, and now we have 2 destroyers to the enemy's 4. Yes, we've killed more of their cruisers, But not having those destroyers, especially when you consider that the enemy team has a Benson, they have an Akatsuki, and they have a few other destroyers that are sneaky Japanese torpedo boats. They can stealth torp. That's a significant problem. Additionally, the enemy team is still in the process of capping that center location, and while we do have ships up there that are stopping them, they have more of the cap progress. Now, I popped my smoke screen here. I'm sitting in that while I'm taking shots at this Arizona, and I've already set him on fire once. I'm hoping I can set him on fire again in a couple of spots, because he put that first fire out, and so he's not going to be able to put out any subsequent fires I set, which is kind of a foolish thing to do, as I set him on fire twice here. But you'll notice I'm getting a lot of shatters with my high explosive there, so I switch over to the armor piercing. And that should do it. Yes, the armor piercing did penetrate at this kind of range. I feel kind of dirty on that because it's a tier 8 ship shooting at a poor little tier 6 ship. But to be fair, he was way overextended, just sailing in a straight line. I don't know if he was a bot, possibly very bot-like behavior. Now, I've popped my hydroacoustic here, and that's because, as I always say, smoke screens are torpedo magnets. And since I don't have a spotter aircraft, I can't spot torpedoes around me, and there are still 4 destroyers on the enemy team, I wanted to make sure that I wasn't going to have one of them rush up on me and torpedo me, or just torpedo me in general. Now I've got the high explosive loaded. There's one of the destroyers. There's another destroyer. That's the Benson. There's the Atakazuki. He has fired shots at me. He's managed to set me on fire, but he's going behind an island. So I go ahead and put that fire out there. So now we can see that there's a lot of destroyer activity here, and the enemy team has secured that center cap, so they're going to start gaining points, which is going to be important for them, as they're currently down on points, but only because we've lost most of our destroyers, which are worth less points when you're talking about those point systems, versus them losing cruisers, which are worth more points. But of course, we have continued to lose ships. We're actually equal on number of ships lost, but they still have that destroyer advantage again, and especially they have that sneaky torpedo boat destroyer advantage. Plus they've got the Benson as well, which is kind of a sneaky torpedo boat there at tier 8 on the American line. Kind of really the first one that you can do that. Now this Akatsuki, he is playing it safe. He's staying behind that island. He knows there's a Kutuzov back over here, and Kutuzovs love wrecking destroyers. I mean, high rate of fire, good high explosive, just rip into him. Plus, secondaries on this thing are not bad, and 8-kilometer torpedoes. You cannot argue with that. Enemy team finally takes the advantage. They've narrowed us down to just 1 destroyer, and they hold the advantage on ships now. They're also in the process of capping the second base location, but it doesn't matter anyway. They still have at least 1, so they're still getting points. Now this destroyer up here has popped his smoke screen. He's gotten a little too close for comfort. He's popped his smoke screen. I'm still being detected by aircraft. The Atakazuki's come around the island back over there. Those shots blind into the smoke did hit that destroyer, so we know he's there. I start rolling forward just in time to see those torpedoes. Turned in just enough, barely missed those, and I drop off detectability. Now I know there is a cruiser that's back over there. That's going to be the Leander, and we're going to see more of him as this battle gets into its end game. I thought about contemplating putting my smoke screen up here, but I realized I was the only thing that was going to detect this guy because, again, a sneaky Japanese destroyer. So I go ahead and I don't pop it. I get moving forward. I'm going to try and keep that island between me and the potential that the Leander is in that smoke screen. And you can see the secondaries are off and away. Now I get my hydro up because I know there's a destroyer in front of me. I'm detected. I expect torpedoes, but I don't know where that destroyer is. And oh my god, that destroyer is right there. Look at that. My secondaries are blazing away on him. They are hitting. Didn't quite manage to connect with that Atakazuki. And now this destroyer is going to come in and he's going to go for a ram. I'm going to get my guns turned. They're going to get reloaded just in time. Finish him off for a double strike and no ram for you. And that's going to be an important factor here that I didn't ram him. I didn't go for the diehard medal, a medal I really don't get very often. But as we're going to see, I didn't choose to go for the diehard medal, and that's going to play an important factor here. Now I push up into the center cap here, and there's nobody left in the center cap to defend it. So I can actually just sit here and cap uncontested, but I do have to be careful. There's still the Leander. Look there, he's got full health, or nearly full health, and there's still a New Orleans on the enemy team. people actually don't realize that the Kutuzov doesn't have a heal. It's got a smoke screen, but it doesn't have a heal. And the reason for that is if it had a heal, it would definitely be way too OP, considering it has a high rate of fire, it has high explosive, armor piercing, and torpedoes. And let's be fair, there are only a certain number of ships that are allowed to have all of those things. The Perth is one of them, but people don't seem to understand how to play that ship. So, it's not considered OP. Now, New Orleans has popped up here. He's shooting at a couple of ships that are back behind me, but he's broadside on to me, so fire it off with the armor piercing, hit him for a Citadel, don't leave him with a lot of health there, fire those shots out there, and he's actually going to drop off detectability as he gets cover between him and the target. And I finished him off anyway. Those shots were on target, so he's down and out. Don't have to worry about him. Now there's just 2 ships left, but my team only has 3, and that Alabama is shooting pretty aggressively at some of the remaining ships. But the Alabama there, he's very, very low health. I get torpedoes off there, kind of hoping I might catch the lander if he continues in a nice straight line, which is what I'm hoping he will do. My smoke screen's going to wear out here any second, so I get moving full speed ahead, and I'm going to try and see if I can hit that Alabama. Now, he's broadside onto me, so I've got the armor piercing loaded because I know it'll penetrate, and I finish him off for a Kraken Unleashed. And that just leaves the Leander left. I know where he is, I know where he was last seen, and I know where he's going. I also know that I'm detected. So there's the Leander. He's got the semi-armor piercing here. I've got my armor piercing loaded up here, but you'll notice as I hit him, I only do about 3,000 damage to him. Not a lot of damage here with the armor piercing. I'm trying to get Citadels on him. He's kind of making it kind of easy, but the shots just are not doing that much damage. And his semi-armor piercing, they're doing about as much damage to me as I'm doing with my armor piercing. So I switch over to the high explosive because at least there I can set him on fire. I can knock out some guns. I can knock out some modules. And I'm going to go ahead, get those shots out there, and you can see 6,000 damage. That's a much better damage number. Plus, I set him on fire. Now, our rates of fire are very similar. He's got a little bit faster rate of fire. I set him on fire again, hit him for about 5,500 damage there, more damage. He puts the fires out, smart move on his part, but it's not going to be enough as I managed to nail him, finish him off for 6 kills. Now, if I'd gotten that first blood, that would have been 7 kills in the game, but still, I think I did pretty well with a Confederate, a double strike, a Kraken Unleashed, and of course, completing one of those missions, earning myself a ridiculous 1.37 million credits in that battle. 103,000 damage, not a bad damage running game. Overall, a pretty good game, and kind of gives you the importance of really picking and choosing your targets and prioritizing what needs to be shot and killed. Top of the team for XP earned at 24 base XP, 2400 base XP in that game overall. A fantastic game. Anyway, that's it for today's video, folks. If you like the video, hit that like button, hit the subscribe, follow button, and leave a comment. If you'd like to get semi-regular news and channel updates, you can do so by following me on Facebook. If you'd like to help support me in the channel, as well as gain additional perks, you can do so by becoming my supporter on Patreon. Any support level and a monthly contribution does help me and the channel out significantly. If you've got a replay like this one that you'd like to see featured on my channel, you can send it to my email. And if you'd like to watch me play various games live, you can do so by following me on Twitch. You can find the links for all of those in the video description down below. And as always, I'll see you next time. This is Captain Rye, signing off.